What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cheer PT podcast and vlog. I'm so glad that you're back joining me today. I am Laura Turner, and I am a physical therapist and strength coach, and I own Move Better Physical Therapy and Fitness, and is my mission to keep cheerleaders healthy, less injuries, improve their performance, and increase their fitness capabilities. And I'm so grateful for you to be here and joining me today. If you've watched previous episodes, you know that I've had cheerleading in my life. I have been cheerleading since I was 14. I was a cheerleader through college, and I then transitioned into coaching, and I went back to school when I went to college for physical therapy. I went back to school for my doctorate, and in my doctorate program, I did my case report on injuries for cheerleading. So I'm super passionate about keeping you guys safe, and I love working with cheerleaders. I love watching routines, and I think, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to cheer as long as we want to, and keep up with it because it's fun. If I had the ability to still stunt, I would, because it's a lot of fun, and I think there's no workout like it in the world. But I am not stunting anymore. I am past that, and I'm now move on and trying to keep everybody as passionate as they can be, doing what they love to do. So today I want to talk about balance. What is balance and why? We know why it's important in cheerleading, right? If you don't have balance, I hear this all the time. Oh, my balance is so bad. I can't hold my ankle still, and I'm balancing, so I fall. Balance is it requires a lot of stuff. It's not just holding your ankle still. Balance is a combination of the feedback that you get from your ligaments, your joints, your muscles to your brain. It's a combination of how strong you are and how you can control what that motion is. There's a big part of balance in your inner ear called your vestibular system, and then your cerebellum is like where your whole balance center is housed. And that kind of sends signals out and helps you to course correct and maintain your balance. When we are up in the air or on the ground too, but cheerleaders, we're in the air, we're being held by hands, and you're standing on one foot, one leg up in the air or pulled up over your head. Maintaining that is super important. We need to be able to hold that steady and not, because if we lose our balance, things come down, and then that's just not pleasant, right? We risk hurt. You risk hurting the people that are supporting you and holding you, and you risk hurting yourself a lot. But holding yourself steady and still isn't necessarily what our bodies want to do. Inherently, we have, even if we hold still, we stand still, okay, stand still, our body still has this very small degree of sway. That's normal. And it really doesn't go away. It's called gravity, right? But can we control that? Sure. Can we train our bodies to move in a way that is maintainable up in the air? Yeah, absolutely. We've seen many people do it, right? The most amazing thing that I've ever seen personally. So I went to Northeastern University, and when I was cheerleading, nationals were in Dallas, Texas. Recently, now they cheer at the NCAAs down at in Daytona Beach. So I went down in 2002 to watch the Northeastern cheerleaders compete because I just want to go. I was going to cheer them on, and I hope that you do the same thing for your cheer teams down the road. So amazing. They had a 2.5 high pyramid, and so the top girl was, in a, I think she was in an arabesque. No, she was in a scorpion, held in a scorpion, and her base, the second level up, was holding way off to the side here, course correcting, and she just stuck there and stayed there, and she was as solid as could be, tightening everything. I don't know where that went wrong up the chain. Yeah, we shouldn't hold here, but everybody from the ground up, including that top flyer, just held steady, and she pulled out and was able to do her motions and held transition out of that, stuck it whoa, don't you know, they won. Actually, they may not have been at that competition because I don't think they were leaned over that, but it was the same pyramid and at another time. But she held it, they stuck it, and wow, it just blew my mind because like, how do you maintain that and how do you maintain that control? You learn it on the ground. You have body awareness on the ground, and you learn to control, and you really got to trust your bases, and the base has got to trust the flyer that she's gonna stay up there and she's gonna fight for that stunt. Now, fighting for it doesn't mean like, because that's gonna throw everything off. But fighting for it means like, I'm coming up here and I'm not gonna move. Like I said, it's inherent for our body to move. It's inherent to improve as you're working on your balance. It's normal, and this goes for anything in life. It's normal for you to wobble. It's normal for you to kind of lose your step a little bit, to fail at the motion. As we do that, that's when when we fail in correcting our balance, if you get that little wobble, your brain then goes, oh, hey, I just went there and I didn't fall down. Now I have a bigger range of motion that I know I can control and I can move into. So you have bigger space to be able to work with. So creating better mobility through your joints and to allow them to go through that motion will help you to maintain better balance when you don't have to move outside that range of motion. I hope that makes sense. If not, please leave me a comment below. So yes, allowing that little wobble when we, even if you're up in the air, like if you're trying to fight and course correct, that's never good because everybody down below, like it's a lot of work. If you're a wet noodle up in the air doing this, if you're burning up in the air, like it's hard for a base to support you up there. They can't control everything. So you need to be able to pull in. If your ankle's going a little bit, it's okay. If you hold everything else tight and you work on your hip extension and you get your core stable, you'll be able to maintain your balance. You won't come down, and it will actually train your ankle and your body that it's okay to be in that position. And the next time you do it, it's going to be a little bit better and a little easier. So allowing ourselves to fail a little will help to train. That's why it's important. Like whatever you do, if you are, if you just give up, if you fall down. So when I say fall down outside of cheerleading wise for the moment, you fail and you fall down for something in life. You fail a test. You try, to paint. I can't. I'm not a very good artist. But the more I try it, the more I'm like, oh, maybe if I try this a different way, and then you can find it. So if you keep going, you keep practicing, and you keep working at it, you allow yourself to fail, and you allow yourself to make mistakes, your body will learn and will course correct, and you'll be better in the long run. It goes for anything in life. Grades, art, cheerleading. If you keep at it and you progress, and you will progress if you keep at it. And don't let your failures make you a failure. That's life lesson to go with balance, because life is all about balance, right? So how can we work on our balance? Feet to head. It's every single joint in between there. They all have to move at just the right time. They have to move in 3 planes of motion, and they have to be able to take through those motions. The more we create more healthy motion, not too much motion, because too much motion is actually a bad thing. That actually creates less stability in some instances. So making sure we have enough of the right kind of motion will help our body to be able to find better space for balance. So joint mobility is the first thing that I always go to. And yes, I love to start with the feet. You might think I'm a weirdo, but I love playing with people's feet. Creating some different mobility. First of all, it feels amazing, but getting just the right motion between the bones and the foot, getting your big toe to move the right way, making sure the ankle can wobble back and forth and your heel can move back and forth, and then incorporating that into a standing position where you weight bear through it and you allow the motion, allow the bones to go through where they need to, and create better, that will create better muscle control and strength. So I always start with the feet. And I don't necessarily mean that I'm starting with the feet and just strengthen. We used to be, as PTs, to create balance, we're going to walk on an uneven surface, or walk on a balance beam, or stand on one leg and close our eyes. All those can help, but creating that motion and that mobility through the foot to create better joint mechanics and joint awareness and muscle awareness will actually help create better balance overall. Balance then comes up higher up the chain into our thighs and our hips. We need to keep balancing on one leg. Like, you need to be able to have good hip extension as well as abduction to hold a leg in neutral. Frequently, our hip will pop out to the side, which means that our thigh goes in and it adducts. And so why is that happening? Is that, do you need better control at your ankle or at your hip? Do you have the mobility in the hip to be able to control that? And then the stability in the hip. So those are all things to work on. Like, when you stand and you stand on one leg, if you go up into a lib position and your foot's locked in and your knee's up, that down leg should be straight from your hip straight down to the floor, not inside the knee. That thigh bone and your shin bone should be straight up and down. If not, then you might need some work. And that work might come because you need to work on your foot mobility, or it might be that you have to work on your hip mobility. Moving up, where does balance stem from? Balance is kind of finding center, coming into center, into our gut, right? So our core, a core is everything really from here to here, your shoulders down to your hips, pelvis, rib cage, anything that attaches in and around there that stabilizes is what your core is. There's different things between intrinsic and extrinsic core. You don't need to know that for here. But basically, there's muscles in the front, your abdominal muscles, not just that rectus abdominis, which makes us look ripped and ready to rock our crop tops. But that's just superficial, and it doesn't do a whole lot by way of stability. Transverse abdominis muscle, your oblique muscles, your internal, your external oblique, they all kind of pull everything in, and they help kind of corset us together to help stabilize into our core. Also, our back muscles, your multifidus, our tiny little spine muscles that go from your neck all the way down. Tiny but powerful, and they help stabilize rotation and flexion and extension. So they need to be super strong. Your erector spinae run the length also, and those will help the same thing in 3 planes of motion. You have quadratus lumborum. They work on your hips and kind of keeping that level, as well as extending or rotating the spine. So they all have to work at just the right time and speed to make everything maintain balance. So core has to be super strong. Does that mean you do crunches for days? No. So I think, I do think crunches will help you with that six-pack look. I will say that. But beyond that, they don't do much of anything. You don't walk around crunching. We do walk and move in 3 planes of motion, subtly, right? When we're in the air, or when we're holding a stunt up, or even if we're tumbling, we need our core to be locked down solid and able to kind of hold steady. So we need to take it through the available motion when we're on the ground and we're training, but then when we go to put it all together, it needs to be able to hold this steady while we move our arms and our legs. So keeping our core strong and stabilizing in ways that are strengthening in ways that help to stabilize our body while being able to move arms and legs is more important than crunch, 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 crunch. And that six-pack also comes from not crunching too much on those chips also, just as a side tidbit. So, things like planks with arm raises, planks with a pull, high plank to low plank, side planks, bird dogs to work your back. You can't just work the front muscles, you have to work your back muscles. Will all help. Squats and deadlifts are also huge core exercises because they work. You have to stabilize here to be able to get your legs to move. The other piece of your core, 2 pieces, the pelvic floor, which we're just touching on. That's so if you tend to leak when you land a jump or you land a tumble pass, it could mean that something's going on with your pelvic floor, and that's something to discuss with your physician or your physical therapist. It may be as simple as something that you just have to work on some different exercises. That goes along with your diaphragm, which is the top part of your core. It sits underneath your rib cage, and that is the main inspiratory muscle. So it helps you to breathe in and helps you to breathe out. As you breathe in, your diaphragm kind of comes down, and as you breathe out, it goes up. So your stomach should expand as you breathe in because it's kind of getting bigger, and then it should fall in as you push the air out. When you breathe out, your abdominals, your multifidus muscle, your obliques, they help to kind of push the air up and out. So getting your breath right is super important in starting core strengthening and as far as maintaining your balance. If you are, go, 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 and you're holding your breath and you haven't breathed, you haven't taken a breath through your whole routine or through your entire practice, you're probably not going to have super solid balance when you go to do your next stunt. So, catch your breath. It's, yes, you're running your routine full out. You're tired. It's hard to be like, okay, I gotta stop and take a breath. Like, let me breathe, catch my breath. You can't do that. But you can train for that outside of there. You can train for it right before you go to dismount. Like, as you go to dismount, take your breath in, exhale as you come down, then your core is super strong as you land your cradle. And that can go for flyer or base. Before you go into your round off, you might take a breath in and then hit your exhale as you're doing your tumble. So that's a way to train your core and to tune into your core while you're still paying attention to what you're doing while you're actually doing something. And one will be less short of breath and have more stamina, which we talked about at another time. Two, you'll have better body control and body balance for whatever you're going to do. So balance isn't just one thing. I'm not going to get into the inner ear and the brain so much. Certainly if you have a concussion, we'll talk a little bit about that. If you have a concussion, that can affect both the vestibular system and the cerebellum, and how you process balance. So, it's super important to make sure you are solid and you've done some balance exercises when you're recovering from a concussion. Vestibular, you can have vestibular issues generally. If you the common vertigo type symptoms, you have that whoosh sensation, things are dizzy, you feel like you're on a tilt-a-wheel, or you've done the swings. I hate those at a fair. Or you're on an uneven surface, or like if you are on a plane and you kind of get that like, whoa, weird sensation. That's all your inner ear, your vestibular system. And you can, if you have an infection, that can be affected. It can be affected if you've been swimming and you've been underwater and you kind of get water in your ear. Or even showering, sometimes you get water in your ear and it's like, whoa, what's up? So just don't sweat those. Certainly if that's something that persists, seek medical attention, but just be aware that that's all stuff that's going to affect your balance. So if you're feeling off and you're like, your eyes are a little wonky, you're tired, that's going to throw your balance off. So maybe that's a day to kind of reel yourself back and be, hey coach, this is what I'm feeling today. I'm going to walk through everything. I want to do this. I'm going to, do as best I can, but I don't think this is the safest for me to be doing this today. So if that's something that's continuing, your coach is going to tell you to go get help, which you should anyways. But, if you're just one day, you take it easy because you need to recover from something, you're going to be better off. Your whole entire team is going to be better off. Communicating with your coach and your parents is super important. Balance isn't just hold tight, hold steady, and I have bad balance. You can always improve your balance. I don't care how old you are, you can always improve your balance by improving something between your foot and your head. It won't get better if you don't work on it. It won't get better if you don't challenge it by trying different surfaces and trying to push the limits of what feels right. You have to do the work. You have to be allowed, you have to train your body to move in that way, but you can always improve your balance. All right, that's it for the day. It's a long little bit on balance. As always, leave me a comment, send me an email if you have any questions. I would love to talk with you more about what you can do at home to help improve your balance. If there's something else that you want to be able to hear, you want to hear on this, please let me know. I'm always looking for ideas, and I look forward to talking with you next time. Go have a good, cheerful day. All right, peace out.